on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your Backlash France, not Backlash 2024, Backlash France preview. Unfortunately, flying solo tonight, Jake couldn't make it to join us, so if you're following him on Twitter, send him all the love and good vibes and high fives, and all the scheduling demons will hopefully work in our favor next time. Backlash France, like I say, they're doing the branding thing. Elimination Chamber Perth, Battleground Las Vegas, Backlash France. Can't help but notice that they're not calling it Money in the Bank Toronto or Heatwave Toronto or the SmackDown before Money in the Bank and Heatwave Toronto. But it's okay. I'm over it. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm going to start off with a thought that I had actually in my Under Siege preview that I recorded last night. So if you're listening to this, go back one. If you're into the TNA stuff, I did a preview for Under Siege as well. This show is going to be a lot of fun. It's really, really cool that they're doing more international stuff. I like a midday pay-per-view. I'm starting to like them more and more. But it's the anti-WrestleMania, isn't it? It really is. Some predictable matches, unless some things that I want to see happen. It's a very short card. And a lot of it, I mean, as the name Backlash would imply, a lot of them just flow straight from WrestleMania. So I'm going to talk about some other things first. I'm going to talk about some potential things that could happen. First one, and it's nice and it's short and it's sweet because it's pretty much a rumor at this point. Apparently John Cena's in France right now. Is he going to pop up at Backlash and promise France a WrestleMania like he did in the UK? Who knows? Could happen, could not happen. John Cena and his massive and obvious bald spot are more than welcome on a show that only has 5 matches on it. Let's be real for a second. I think, in all honesty, Triple H, Papa H, the leader of the new era, Mr. Levesque, he took the criticism that pay-per-views were getting too long and went way in the other direction. I think they're actually a little bit too short. Problem with that is if you have a short pay-per-view, you either have a pay-per-view that is short or a pay-per-view that is only regulation length because a match went too long or because there was a lot of filler. I like musical performances at wrestling shows, by the way, but I know a lot of other people don't, and then we get, what's his name, Hardy, that nobody wanted, and then you get some actual good music from back in the day that was awesome. So, John Cena popping up to say, hey France, what's up? You can't see me, or whatever you can't see me is in French. Maybe we'll give you a WrestleMania. Bye! And then he gets his ass kicked by Tama Tonga, maybe. Who the fuck knows? So John Cena is in France right now. That is a rumor. There's always the possibility that we could be introduced to Uncle Howdy and friends and whatever this glitch is leading to, the QR codes, etc. I'll say what every other podcaster says. I don't bother scanning the QR codes. I wait till somebody else does it, and then I just watch the videos online. I don't know what they mean. There's buzzards and haunted houses and creepy-looking people in shawls and shadows and all the Wyatt adjacent stuff. P.S., by the way, before I talk about this, anybody online that is harassing Bray Wyatt's widow because she went out and had a good time with some friends is a very special kind of piece of shit. And it is definitely one of those situations where if I saw somebody like that face to face, I would tell them, out of the two of us, I'm the adult in this situation. And think of the ground that covers. Don't be shitty. It's not that hard to pick your head up off the pillow in the morning, look yourself in the mirror, and for the first time say, I'm gonna try not being a cunt today. Just experiment with it. See how it works. But anyways, apparently Bo Dallas is bringing back the Uncle Howdy character. This is going to be somewhat of an homage to Bray Wyatt, if you believe certain rumors. Now, let's stack it up. Bo Dallas is hovering around. He just did the documentary on Bray that I haven't watched yet. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be really sad if I watch that, so I'll catch it eventually. I did, side note once again, I did finally see Shayna Baszler versus Masha Slamovich from Bloodsport. That was a lot of fun. Love to see more of that. Love to see more Masha Slamovich on my TV, let's be real for a second. But so Bo Dallas is in on whatever this is. Braun Strowman just made his return during the draft and sort of helped out Helped out Jey Uso with the football players and the Judgment Day and Logan Paul, because that's a group you want to bring together. Whispers in the background that Eric Rowan / Eric Redbeard has re-signed with WWE as well. That's fine. Let him bring the tarantula, do some spooky bollocks. It'll be fine. Matt Hardy's an interesting one. He's got his release from AEW. He's currently doing some stuff in TNA, including the match that he's in as part of Under Siege this coming Friday, running the same time as SmackDown. He is in a 6-person tag alongside Trent Seven and Mike Bailey taking on the System. And if you want to know what I think of the System, go back and listen to the Under Siege preview. So Matt Hardy's doing TNA stuff, but I mean, WWE has done TNA stuff recently. I mean, Shayna Baszler just fought Masha Slamovich at Bloodsport. We had Jordan Grace and Mickie James in the women's Royal Rumbles, and more talk about being open to collaboration, etc. So him being in TNA doesn't necessarily mean he's not coming to WWE. That's absolutely fine. The only one that I haven't heard anything about, and you guys can please fill me in if I've missed something. What's the status of Alexa Bliss? Because if we get Bo Dallas, Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan, Broken Matt Hardy, and Alexa Bliss, that'll be a fun little gothy faction that, your boy Spaz will like, because I like that kind of stuff. So put it down in the box below or hit me up on X at Spaz Phoenix. Tell me, do you want Bo Dallas / Uncle Howdy and whatever this new ragtag group of people is going to be to show up in France, or do you want to wait till they're back in the US and maybe do it on a big episode of Raw or SmackDown? Do you think John Cena is going to show up at Backlash? Going to take one more detour before we get into the Backlash card and talk about a few things that happened on NXT 2 nights ago, as I'm recording this on Thursday, breaking the fourth wall. So, a lot of it, well, I shouldn't say a lot of it has to do with the women's division. A lot of it kind of has to do with the women's division, and one thing has to do with the men's division, because that's how two divisions works. We got a little bit more clarification on the Women's North American Championship. Now, Ava, she's got no surname, she's the Rock's daughter and the general manager of NXT. Yes, I'm stealing that bit from Adam Wilborn and What Culture. Sue me. I doubt they listen to this anyway. She came out to make the announcement that there's going to be a combine starting next week. Out of that, they're going to pick 12 people. Those 12 people are going to have 6 qualifying matches. And the very first Women's North American Championship holder will be decided the same way the very first Men's North American Championship holder was established, was in a multi-person match at a pay-per-view. This one's going to take place at Battleground Las Vegas. Jada Parker came out to interrupt. Ariana Grace came out to interrupt her, and then they were graced by Mia Yim. Speaking of Grace, because Ariana Grace, and I wanted to make a pun there. Mia Yim came back out and literally said, did somebody say something about ladders? Because we remember she fucking wrecked herself in a ladder match trying to get the team advantage for War Games several years ago. So technically, I guess she has some history with ladders. She mentioned she has some unfinished business with ladders and wanting to make some history in NXT, because she was never the NXT Women's Champion. If they're now going to have a mid-card title, maybe she can be that. So Mia Yim / Mi Chin, I hate the name. I'm pretty sure it has some meaning to her and the OC and her being part of the OC. Not taking a dig at it, because they went back and forth with it so many times, I can't take that name seriously. So she's Mia Yim. Like, she just is. I don't know what else to say. So they're going to do a combine with all the ladies in NXT, which is a fucking lot. Even though they just lost Lyra Valkyria, Kiana James, and who was the third one? Blair Davenport. They've still got a stacked roster, and this will give the ones that aren't chasing Roxanne Perez something else to do. Speaking of chasing Roxanne Perez, look at that transition. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Randomly, next week on NXT, Roxanne Perez is being made to defend her women's championship against Chelsea Green. That's just going to be fun. For all the criticism that people have of Chelsea Green and all the criticism that people have of NXT, Chelsea Green is going to fit like a fucking glove in NXT, coming out there with her dress with the bow that's bigger than the dress and being ridiculous and saying that she likes Ava better than Pierce or Aldis. It's going to be fun. She's not going to win. but it's going to be fun. The last thing was we had the big meaty men slapping man meat match between Obafemi and Ivar, and that was a lot of fun, despite what you'll hear online. And after the match, there was some very familiar music playing. Wwe made his entrance through the not only an entrance through the audience, but walking along the guardrail, hopping to the stairs, hop into the ring, etc. Really, really cool, because we didn't think we were going to see him for about a year, and when he left, it sounded like we might not see him at all. Apparently, he's only been out for like 5-6 months, which is like doing some John Cena level rehab, and just to see tiny Wwe stepping up to guys like Ivar and Obafemi. I mean, I get it. It's kind of the point. But it's really cool to see Wwe. I really hope they strap a rocket to his ass and go with it. I think he's facing Josh Briggs next week, because Josh Briggs had a bit with him in the back where he's, I bet you can't just hop back in after being gone for so long and get right back in title contention. He's like, all right, cool, we'll figure our shit out next week. It was so harsh, so unnecessarily was the words of Wwe. So cool things happening in NXT. Chelsea Green coming down to make a cameo. Mia Yim coming in to give some bolstering to that new Women's North American title division and probably get herself in the ladder match. Let's be real. Wwe making his comeback way ahead of schedule. Lots of cool things happening in NXT. Lots of cool surprises that might happen at Backlash. So now let's talk about Backlash. Randy Orton versus Kevin, or sorry, not Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. We're probably going to get that later on down the line, and I want to see it, KO versus RKO. But in the meantime, they're taking on the new Bloodline, and as we found out during the draft, right now the Bloodline consists of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns removed himself from the draft. Jimmy Uso was also removed from the draft because he's legitimately injured, and Jey Uso is on Raw still as confirmed by the draft. Bloodline is on SmackDown as confirmed by the draft. So is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Let's be real for a second. This is a showcase for the new Bloodline, isn't it? It really is. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are going to make them look like $1 million. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are both kind of lone wolf type characters, not making a Baron Corbin joke out of that. I'm sure Baron Corbin, because weirdly they love Baron Corbin in France, I'm sure Baron Corbin's going to do something. He'll answer an open challenge. That'll be one of the unannounced segments and whatever. But Randy Orton's kind of a lone wolf character. Kevin Owens is kind of a lone wolf character. They're not going to get along. There's going to be some babyface miscommunication. The Bloodline, Solo as the leader needs to make a statement. Tama Tonga, I mean, most people know who he is, but we haven't seen him in a match yet, so he's got to make a statement. This is very functional matchmaking, and I know that sounds boring. Randy Orton can make people look like $1 million. Kevin Owens, with a facial expression alone, can make somebody look like $1 million. Look at what he did when he was interacting constantly with Logan Paul and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, when he did the two faces punch. Oh my god, you guys can't come out here. I didn't even say your name. Don't you know the rules? Like all that fucking bullshit. He's going to be doing that ridiculous stuff. Randy Orton's going to be doing slithery snake viper things. And then Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga are going to come out and kill them. Now, the last rumor that I didn't mention before, is that they're finally going to introduce, what's his name? Jacob Fatu, who I've never seen before. It's only a name I've heard out there in the ether. But apparently his brother and him are a tag team, so maybe we get the tag team and maybe it goes back up to 4 people again. Do they get introduced in this match, or do they let the strength of Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga speak for itself? I don't know. I do know the Bloodline's winning. Let's cut to that chase right then and there. I do know that the Bloodline are winning. Are they going to cheat to win, or are they just going to slaughter Randy Orton and Kevin Owens to win? Is there going to be a distraction? Is Paul Heyman going to be, pulled this way or that, because he's in a very weird, oh my god, Roman Reigns didn't approve this situation right now? I doubt very much that The Rock is going to be in France, or any of that speculation is going to be touched on. Solo and Tama are going to win, and it'll be almost better if they don't cheat and they just steamroll these guys. Either way, the outcome isn't really even in any doubt, because they're a brand new team. If they do all this killing and then they lose their first match as a tag team, that's going to be a bit shit. I know it seems a little bit below the bar, considering the Bloodline was based on having the main world title for so long. if the Bloodline sets their sights on A-Town Down Under and steals those championships in a absolutely like violence versus comedy bloodbath, I wouldn't mind. I'm not gonna lie. Do it in Saudi. It's fine. The Samoans can come back from Saudi with some straps. There's your alliteration. It's very tired in here. Speaking of steamrollers, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are going to job out the Kabuki Warriors, aren't they? I can't muster the energy to pretend to not know that this is happening. Asuka and Kairi Sane are going to be punching bags, and it's going to be sad. It's going to be a recreation of WrestleMania, which was the low point of WrestleMania because Damage Control was such a cool story for like a year plus, and then they got used as punching bags for obvious reasons that I can't mention on a podcast or I'll get deplatformed. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are going to be our new women's tag team champions. Yay! And following on with that mentality, I mean, Naomi's probably going to beat Bayley and Tiffany Stratton. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. Part of me wants Tiffany Stratton to win because she hit the ground running when she hit the main roster. She immediately got a massive response in Australia. So not only is she getting a massive response in the main roster, she's getting a massive response on the main roster in an area of the world where WWE isn't even typically live. So she got a huge push. I would love for it to be a strike while the match is hot, put the belt on her right away, see what happens. Equally though, Bayley worked for so long to make the Damage Control thing work, made the turn work. Bayley took a face turn that shouldn't have worked, that didn't really make sense, and still made it work through the strict virtue of the fact that we know how hard Bayley works in real life. And she entertained us throughout the pandemic. Her and Asuka, I should say. I would be fine with Bayley retaining. Tiffany Stratton winning it is taking a chance on a brand new person, so that's like the opposite story. Naomi, I mean, we know why they're gonna win. I don't want to... Call me whatever. I don't care. Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi are all going to win championships this Saturday so that WWE can say, look at how progressive we are. Can we please get some gold stars and a pat on the back? Can we please, please, please? And if I'm wrong, if they give the Kabuki Warriors their flowers after squashing them at WrestleMania, if they actually continue to give Bayley what she has been earning for like a year and a bit now, or if they make the other decision to take a wild bet on Tiffany Stratton, I will eat my words. I will come up here, I will say I was wrong, I will eat my words, I will also probably say I expect it to still come later on down the line, but you're staring down the barrel of those three just walking around and being like, just so you know, none of you are going to touch these belts for a while because reasons. Tiffany Stratton should win. The Kabuki Warriors should win. The Bloodline are going to win. That's awesome. And that only leaves us with the two title matches. I mean, I'm filming this before SmackDown, obviously. I'm filming this before the SmackDown spoilers even come out. So I don't know what's happening on SmackDown. I know that the AOP are having one last match on SmackDown to take on, what are they called? The New Catch Republic. But I'm pretty sure that's going to end in bullshit because both of those teams are moving to Raw so they can just continue it on Raw. There's no tag title matches on here except for the women's. Awesome Truth defended their titles early. A-Town Down Under don't have competitors currently. Actually, I think they're defending the titles against the Street Profits on SmackDown. The taped SmackDown that's going to have spoilers and everything. I don't know. The tag titles are completely off this card. The two mid-card titles are completely off this card. Why? You're going international. Why would you not put Logan Paul on there? Why would you not put Sami Zayn? I mean, I know not everybody likes Logan Paul, but Sami Zayn. Put Sami Zayn on there. It's fine. I mean, if you just want to have like an exhibition, kind of cool Sami Zayn versus Logan Paul could be a little bit fun. Just champion versus champion before the rosters lock in on Monday. But yeah, a lot of gold is not being represented here, and the gold that is being represented here is half going to fall to the agenda. Let's be real for a second. But we get to the two men's championships, and we know which one is completely obvious. And I thought the other one was completely obvious as well, but it's Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. Now, there's a lot of outside elements here. This is the first time that the Bloodline and Jey Uso will be in the same arena since WrestleMania, I think, at least in kayfabe. I mean, I'm sure they were all backstage for the draft and whatnot. Does the Bloodline come out to fuck with Jey Uso? Do they wait to debut Jacob Fatu in an assault on Jey Uso with some kind of, yeah, we brought in Jacob Fatu, but we're going to send him to Raw so that the Bloodline can be represented on both brands? That could be a cool story. Damian Priest, does he finally have his fallout with the Judgment Day at the show? Did they try to help him and end up costing him ultimately? Do they try to help him and he bitches them out and they turn on him and jump him and cost him the championship? Maybe. Does Drew McIntyre come out, and because Damian Priest took advantage of him in a weakened moment, does Drew McIntyre come out after Judgment Day comes out and get his licks in on Damian Priest, making him prime for Jey Uso? All these situations would lead to Jey Uso being the world champion, so I'm entirely down for that. But both guys, once again, it's like Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, where Seth Rollins more so was involved in the Bloodline stuff, and Drew McIntyre was involved in his feud with CM Punk, but they had to kind of also focus on each other. This is the same thing. Jey Uso could have a lot of problems on his plate. I just mentioned Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre could come down and fuck over Damian Priest, but Drew McIntyre is no fan of Jey Uso either. Does he intimidate a general manager into making it a triple threat match at the last minute because he never got his rematch directly after the cash-in? Does CM Punk show up in France? Do we find out what its clobberin' time or best in the world is when translated into French? I don't know. So as much as I want to think that this is an open and shut case, it's really not. I do think it's really cool that once we got the title away from Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins being involved in the Bloodline, which included The Rock and Roman and Cody, and once we got rid of all of that and crowned Damian Priest as the new champion, who wasn't attached to any of that, and made Jey Uso the #1 contender, it feels like not only a new champion, but a brand new championship picture. And I think that that's what that title needed, because up until you've had a title change hands, when you name a first champion, and we know the most horrible example of it was when Eric Bischoff just handed Triple H the World Championship back in the day. This wasn't that. This was them back in Seth Rollins and him winning a big tournament and whatever. But until that belt passed on to somebody else, it wasn't really a recognized championship. It was just part of Seth's attire. And I hate to say it like that, because I really do like this belt. I like the design of this belt. It's the title belt of the A show, even though SmackDown gets more ratings, blah, 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 blah. Well, Raw's going to be going to Netflix, so this is going to be the Netflix title very, very soon. So we have a new champion born out of people that have all moved on to other things. I mean, the Bloodline stuff shifted back to SmackDown. The Rock has gone back to Hollywood. Rollins has gone to heel. Cody Rhodes has the other title, and he's gone to SmackDown. So it's a fresh field for two guys that before WrestleMania weren't in the title picture, and now they are the title picture, and I think that's really fucking cool. I really, really do. I'm about 75% sure that Damian Priest retains. There's way too many moving parts for this to not be a thing. That other 25% though, if Jey Uso walks out of France as the champion, and Damian Priest's cash-in title reign is only for a month, and then he builds his way back up to getting a proper title shot and a proper title win, and then gets a longer reign out of that once the face turn has taken hold, that's not the worst story in the world. Still 75% Damian Priest. Now, what I'm 101% sure of is the fact that Cody Rhodes is going to defend successfully against AJ Styles. people are labeling AJ Styles as a very, very good loser for Cody Rhodes, which is super condescending. That's something I would say if I didn't like AJ Styles. But it's kind of weird. If you go back a couple of years when you had AJ Styles going up against champions like Roman Reigns, champions like John Cena, champions like Brock Lesnar, you had people behind AJ Styles. Oh my God, look at this guy. Of course, he's the number one choice. He's the obvious guy to make a champion. But now all of a sudden, because the belt is on Cody Rhodes, he's a good loser for Cody Rhodes. Come on now. Your bias is showing. Your bias is showing. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. People are saying that the OC are going to come out and help AJ Styles. I don't think that helps Cody Rhodes at all. Cody Rhodes, I said it a couple weeks ago in one of my reviews, Cody Rhodes has to stop thanking the people that helped him at WrestleMania, because every time you point out the amount of people that helped him at WrestleMania, from Undertaker to John Cena to, The Rock inadvertently to Jey Uso to Seth Rollins being his shield, for the people that are really, really into Cody Rhodes, you gotta watch how you play with that, because he is the all-conquering hero. He is the, Captain America of that Avengers team. Now, mind you, Seth Rollins had to be the Iron Man and say, I am Iron Man. But careful with how much you keep reminding people that he had a lot of help to get that belt. Now, if AJ Styles brings in the OC and it causes some kind of schmoz, it's not going to work, because they're not going to take that belt off Cody anytime soon. And plus, the OC are kind of like big time in everybody in NXT right now, and it's really hilarious. AJ Styles left the OC to be a heel, so I don't know. Much as I said Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are sort of like babyface lone wolf guys, AJ Styles kind of doing the opposite right now. He's kind of reminding me of when he did his sort of darker AJ Styles run in TNA, which wasn't horrible, by the way. He's got the new entrance, he's got the new darker attire, darker ring entrance, ring music, all that kind of thing. It's going to be a fantastic match. It is absolutely going to be a fantastic match. Cody Rhodes is winning. And to go back down the card, Cody Rhodes is winning, Damian Priest is pretty sure winning. The women's triple threat, there's three options there, and I think WWE are going to go with the bad one. Kabuki Warriors are going to get swashed, which is super unfortunate, but hey, they at least got to perform in France. Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa are going to be the story coming out of this show, one way or the other, and I'm expecting some surprises. Now, mentioning the ladies, and mentioning how I'm not quite hopeful about how a lot of the ladies' action is going in this particular show, they're not having Becky Lynch defend in France, which is where I'm going to make a hell of a take here. They should have done a tournament. They should have done like a mini tournament or a couple of triple threats or whatever. Are you with me that if she was going to defend, or if she was going to be crowned the brand new champion after Rhea Ripley, who casts a hell of a shadow, by the way, and we hope she returns sooner than later. I hope Rhea Ripley can have a Wes Lee-esque return. But in the meantime, her reign was awesome, and the people that think it wasn't for some weird, hateful reason can go eat a shit. I don't know. You don't even get a good insult. Like, if you don't think Rhea Ripley was an awesome champion, if you don't think Rhea Ripley, like, absolutely fucking drips star power, you're just wrong and probably watching a Young Bucks match. They could have just done the Battle Royal at Backlash. That would have been a lot. I mean, a Battle Royal's a Battle Royal. It's just a toss-away, throw-away thing. But it came down to Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. They could have done one of those Battle Royals that they do in NXT, where it's a Battle Royal until there's the last two people, and then those two people have a proper match. Do a Battle Royal like that, with the last two people being Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. Crown Becky Lynch at the pay-per-view rather than on a random Raw in the shadow of Rhea Ripley's horrible news. They could have handled that a lot better. Instead, they did it on Raw, and now that championship isn't even being represented on the card. I'm not sure who's really to blame for that. I mean, nobody's to blame for anybody getting injured and us having to tell a brand new story now, but they could have just done something there. There's a lot of room on this card. Like I've been saying throughout most of this pod, this is a very, very short card. Jade Cargill at this point will not be helped at all by being made to wrestle a long match. The Bloodline And I'm saying this in a positive way, like, they should be killers. It should not take them a long time to kill Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. The triple threat match will be what it'll be. I mean, Damian Priest, Cody Rhodes, I don't know how long those matches are going to be each. I think they're both going to be great. I think Damian Priest and Jey Uso are really going to go out there with chips on their respective shoulders, because they're the ones on this entire card that really have something to prove as far as being in that echelon. Like I said, that new era of that championship. But there's got to be more, right? There's got to be, like, some random stupid, hey, it's Baron Corbin in France moment. There's got to be some random bullshit, hey, John Cena's here, he's going to say some nonsense and we're going to make fun of his bald spot. I would love it if they took the extra time from this show to introduce whatever Bo Dallas / Uncle Howdy are doing, but this is a relatively short pod. I think we're coming in under a half hour, and you guys know how I like to ramble. It's a small show. It's a cool, big show on an international stage for the fact that it is an international show, for the fact that it's the first big show in France, for the fact that, people are going to be all weird about what time of day it's coming on, because we're spoiled on this side of the world, quite frankly. Like, it's very cool from this ongoing, like, WWE making a global imprint and having a global footprint perspective. I think all that is very cool. Don't let what I'm saying here take anything away from that. The fact that, we're going to go from here to Vegas to Saudi to Scotland to Berlin to back to Toronto in my backyard. I think it's all very cool, but I think this is the most backlash that has ever backlashed. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out.